I'm going to be telling you the 5 things I wish I had known before buying my Ford Ranger Raptor. I'm in the French Alps at the moment. I've driven this here from the UK about 750 miles. And I've done a total of 8,000 miles in it since I bought it. So I've got a really good balanced view of the things that I love about it, but also things I think Ford should have done a little better on. And number 5 particularly is something I wish they'd fitted from factory. So this is the Ford Ranger Raptor. It's a 3-litre petrol twin turbo V6 version. It's great, really fun to drive. But one of the most common things that people ask about this is, well, what does it do on fuel? So let me tell you what that looks like over the last 750 miles or so that I've driven it, because I've been taking it, pretty steadily during that time driving over here. If I just switch it on now, I'll show you the stats and the data. The MPG there you can see is 19.1 miles per gallon, but I thought it'd probably average out in the low 20s. But as you can see on there, it really does sit below 20 miles per gallon, even on a long distance journey there, where I've been driving at the speed limit during the whole time here through France. And so if fuel is a problem and you're worried about the MPG, or you do a lot of mileage as part of your job or what you do day to day, then I'd say this does get through quite a bit, which is no surprise, but still I think it's interesting to get a real world MPG of this vehicle. So number 2 of the things that I wish I would have known is actually to do with the rear of the truck. So before I had this car, I had a Land Rover Discovery 5, then I had a Ford Ranger, the older shape model, and it had a rear cover on it, as you can see, this one does just here. But the rear cover that this had was slightly different. This has got the motorized rear cover, and you press a button just down here, which is pretty good because you've also got 12 volt and also a 3-pin socket, and this comes along automatically. And this was fitted from factory. I think it's called a Raptor pack as an option when you spec these up, and that shuts there. Now, one of the biggest benefits with this, which is something I was a bit skeptical about, and I get quite a lot of questions around, is this waterproof? And the answer is, it absolutely is. Now, you might say, well, it looks pretty wet in the back of there, but that's just because there's skis in the back and bits and bobs that have had ice on them. So I can quite confidently say this is completely waterproof. I've had it in full showers, I've had it covered in snow, and it is fully waterproof, which is a brilliant feature and something the last Ford Rangers didn't have. And I'm not sure about other pickup brands, but certainly with the Ford Ranger of this generation, doesn't have to be the Raptor, I guess, that is a brilliant feature and something that works really, really well. Carrying on the theme with point number 2, which is we're at the back right, so we've done the shutter, that's waterproof, good fact to know. The next is the new Ford Rangers have a 2-inch hitch, which you can see here. And that has been amazingly useful and different to what I've had previously. So at the moment, the tow bar's not on it at all. I've got this cover here that I just got off eBay just to cover it up and stop it rusting. And the 2-inch hitch is great because you can put so many different things into that. I've had bike racks in it. You can even get a mount for a motorbike, for example. It's really heavy duty and you can mount so many accessories onto it. And in the UK, that's quite unusual. I know a lot of American trucks have a 2-inch hitch, but that's been a great benefit that I've found that I wasn't expecting with this, and particularly compared to the previous Ford gen, the Ford Ranger. That's been a massive addition, something that I've liked a lot, and something, again, I wasn't expecting when I bought this thing. So point number 3 is about driving. So this vehicle from factory has BFG all-terrain tyres on that you can see here. They're actually KO2s, and they are the factory tyre that this vehicle comes with. And they are brilliant for when we're out here, so it's been great in the snow, in the ice. It's been absolutely fantastic, and it's great on tarmac as well when it's dry. One of the things I have noticed with these is when it's wet, so in the UK on tarmac like this, and it's wet, one of the big problems is it slips and slides a lot, and that is when it's in 2-wheel drive mode. With a 3-litre engine, it's a bit too much to handle on those tyres. So when you're inside here and you get in, you've got this great button here that can change the mode. So if I just show you, I'll turn it on now. You can see here it's in 4A, so 4 automatic, and then you can change it to 2 high, flashes and changes, and it's so easy to do. And on here again, if I zoom in and show you and go to 4A, it just says that. So it's brilliant. You can change those driving modes while you're driving, but these tyres in the wet are pretty lethal. And although it's quite fun that it slides around roundabouts and stuff like that when it's wet, if you're not expecting it, it can get pretty out of hand. And I think that's just because it's with the 3-litre petrol version. I'm not sure what it's like on the 2-litre diesel, but certainly on these, it gets pretty wild if you're not ready for it and you're on these tyres. Whilst driving over here, one of the things I was a bit anxious about, and generally just changing this vehicle in general for something that wasn't my Discovery previously, was how comfortable it was going to be to drive, how comfortable the cabin is, what it's like over long distance. I can honestly say this has been absolutely brilliant. I don't miss my Land Rover at all, and actually find this to be as comfortable and have way more technology on it than my Land Rover did. So having just done 700-800 miles with it, honestly, it's been a great vehicle to do this journey in, and I'm happy to do that kind of distance in it again. If I show you inside, some of the things that I really like about the vehicle is a lot of the technology stuff. So in here you can see it's got cruise control, it's got lane assist, it's also got, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's where you can track the car in front and set a certain distance and it keeps up to speed with it. So it's like adaptive cruise control might be. It's got adaptive lighting, you don't need to mess around with anything like that. It's all very easy to drive. Heated seats, heated steering wheel, and super comfortable. And these are the seats that come in the Raptor. So they have the Raptor emblem there, slightly bolstered, bit more plush than the normal Ranger seats or the Wild Track seats. And up here you've got sunglasses across there, but also accessory switches here for loads of different exterior lighting options that you can fit to the Raptor too. And generally just a really comfortable place to be over that kind of distance, which is something I wasn't necessarily expecting. One other point about the interior, for those that are watching this that might be interested in buying a Raptor, is it has code orange sort of highlights throughout the cabin. So the seats here, on the steering wheel, all the stitching you can see as well is code orange, as is the area around the vents. And that matches really well with the outside. And some people are like, why do you choose this very bright orange color for the Raptor? And the truth is I wanted something that matches the interior, because even if you get a white or you get the gray or the black on the inside, these vehicles still have the orange highlights. And so it just made sense to me to get a vehicle where it all matched. There's also usually a Raptor sticker along the back here, but I have taken that off because I wasn't a massive fan. So the code orange only comes in the Raptor version. You can't get it in the Wild Tracks. I love the Raptor in this color, particularly when you're out here. It looks very cool in the snow. And point number 5, which is the thing that frustrates me the most about the Ford Ranger Raptor, is the fact that you can't actually put very much weight onto any accessory on the top of here. So if you're mounting like a rack, which I have done before, or you want to carry bikes or heavy luggage and stuff like that, you can't have it on the back without a modification that you need to do to these, which has not been done by Ford in the factory, and that is adding J-brackets. And J-brackets, I believe, are like a strengthening thing that you can put on the inside of the tub here to help support and increase the capacity or the weight. And without that, if a problem happens, you're not covered by Ford's warranty, which is quite crazy, because you think when your vehicle looks like this and should be made for being heavy use and lifting stuff about, you'd think they'd make it from factory in a way where it was able to carry a load and all those sorts of things, and this isn't. It doesn't do that. You've got to fit J-brackets to it, which I find quite frustrating, and it's actually stopped me putting much on the back of my Raptor because I'm worried about that, and I need to get the J-brackets fitted. But that's obviously something you've got to buy, something you've got to factor in and get fitted and everything else, and it's a bit annoying that Ford didn't do that from factory. So they are my 5 points on my Ranger Raptor. Overall, I really love it, and having lived with it now for best part of 7,000, 8,000 miles, it's been everything I wanted and more. And I still say to this day, it's my favorite vehicle that I've owned, because it kind of does everything. It's great for the family. It's great in conditions like this. You can also put a load of gear in the back, but it's also really fun to drive as well. I haven't driven a Wild Track with the smaller engine, but the 3-litre petrol, if you don't do a lot of mileage regularly as part of your job or part of what you want to do, then it's a great choice. I've really enjoyed the 3-litre petrol. It feels like it really suits this car well. If you've got any questions, maybe looking at buying a Ford Ranger Raptor, let me know in the comments below. I'll answer them very honestly about what I think and what my journey's been like with this vehicle. Thanks for watching the video. Check out the other videos on my channel about my Ford Ranger Raptor or some of the other vehicles that I own, and I'll see you guys very soon.